Hello, it is January 2nd, 1942, in our War in the Pacific, Focus Pacific play-by-email campaign, and it looks like we're starting off with an anti-submarine warfare attack on my French submarine, the L'Espoir. I'm butchering that pronunciation, I'm sure. A few hexes north of Truk. I find this TF, but unfortunately, the ASW finds the sub and not the other way around. Looks like very quickly we're into the air phase. Some sweeps over Wind Cow again, some bombing over Wind Cow, not going to do a whole lot. Betties go after Clark Field. This makes sense, right? He has moved troops into the space now. He has 27 LCUs in the hex, so a pretty large force here. It's going to be damaging the runway, preventing me from building more forts. And despite the damage Betties, he brings a lot, 35, and he does good damage here. It's probably going to halt my progress on the next level of forts. 26 more. It looks like I takes him out with AAA. Yeah, one disruptive flak and some additional airbase and runway hits here. We're sweeping over Wind Cow. And I decided not to move these BR-697s. We'll see if it's a good idea or not. But I saw how they made contact with the bombers in the other turn, and I wanted to see if we can do that again. Lots of Oscars here on escort, though, so it doesn't look like they actually get to the bombers. However, we take out an Oscar, and I'll take that. So I decided to get a little bit cheeky. I had this Buffalo squadron at Cebu, and he was raiding bombing my troops trying to get out of Kwangchawan, and this little air base, actually it was Nanning, was exactly the Buffalo's extended range to get there. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to put them up there, they'll stay there for a turn, take out some bombers, and then move somewhere else. And you know what they did? I downed a few bombers for my trouble. Lots of lilies here. Looks like he's taking some losses. So a light industry hit this time. Again, he's coming after my industry here at Wind Cow. We talked before about why I don't think that's a good idea, but he's still doing it. But taking quite a few damaged and one loss. That's because he's coming in at 7,000 feet, pretty low. So chainsaw. More Betties. This time Manila. Lose a Betty and don't do any damage. I'll take it. Coming after Clark again. So yeah, he's doing a pretty good bombing campaign here on Clark Field, and it's effective. By the end of the turn, that airbase will have significant damage. That runway will have significant damage, and it may prevent me from building any more forts. Especially keeps it up, he'll be able to prevent me from getting from Forts 4 to Forts 5. And of course, if another one there. Of course, if he attacks and lowers my forts, I also won't be able to build them back up to where they were. So definitely needs to be done. Smart for him to do it, and he's dedicating quite a few bombers to make it happen. Clarkfield could not get a break. At the end of the day, though, he's going to have some pretty damaged and beat-up bomber squadrons. Now some Sallies go after Singapore. Again, super, super high. Look at that, 25,000 feet. They're not going to do much at that altitude, and they don't. Just the bombing accuracy is so low when you get up that high. More bombers, not doing much. It's going after Guam again. Again, this is a good move to keep me from rebuilding the forts here. And wow, pretty quick air phase. We're on to the ground combat phase. He has brought a whole lot here. Look at this amount of AV he's brought to this hex to push me off this rail line. I'm in mountainous terrain, but it does not do much when he brings that much. Looks like he had 1,560 AV, or 2,137, I should say, 70-1 odds, and my units are really, they should be destroyed. They're essentially gone. I may actually suicide that unit to see if it just respawns at Chungking. Japanese bombardment, so he's kind of sussing me out here to see what I have. Let's see what he's brought. Lots of SNLFs, tank regiment, another tank regiment, recon, so another tank regiment. So some good hard AV there, some artillery, and a few divisions, including the special assault divisions, which are pretty tough. They're in addition to Focus Pacific. They start Camera Bay, and they allow the Japanese player to bring some more AV in the early phase of the game. Really helpful, actually, to take the Philippines, just like this. Also helpful to bring to Malaya and take Singapore. So smart of him to bring it, but I think he's going to get his nose bloodied just a little bit on this first assault. His troops have been marching, have just come into the hex, whereas mine are pretty well rested. So take a look here. Let's speed things up. I don't have anything the size of those infantry divisions, and that's always a little bit rough. Smaller units in Focus Pacific tend not to perform as well as an equal AV of larger units. So by that I mean, say if you had 5 small units adding up to 100 AV, they usually don't do as well in combat as one 100 AV unit. So just bombardment attack though, he has definitely brought a good amount to the hex. 3,000 AV to the hex. Hey, kudos to him. I think that's great. I think that may be what is needed to take the hex. But in this first bombardment, I do come out ahead. I imagine that he will do a deliberate attack next turn, and we'll have to see what that looks like. Attacks deliberately again at Guam. Again, I don't think that's a good idea. We destroy one of his forces in that attack. They just weren't ready for it. They need to be rested. They need to recover some of those disablements before they attack. And because of it, it's 1 to 2 odds. Destroy one of his units. I think it was one of those Special Naval Landing Base Forces, one of those SNLF units that bit the dust there. Which is a good unit to take out. They're really good for amphibious landing, so that's one less that I have to worry about taking a base somewhere else. And that looks like it's the turn. Thank you so much for joining me on January 2nd, 1942, and we'll see you in the Discord. Take care.